Hi, my name is Jeff from Waterford Technologies. Today we're going to talk about 5 myths that most lawyers do not know about email discovery. And specifically, we're going to help you to destroy those myths. The first myth is email server. Let's say, for example, you get a legal request to go back and find all the emails in your email server. Some things that people don't realize are potentially email could be lost. Imagine people delete something by accident or delete something on purpose. Second thing is an incredible amount of data. I don't know about your organization, but most companies have very large email servers. It's very time consuming to copy those, to just find the information, and of course to search it. Third thing is more on the alteration side. A lot of people don't realize it's very easy to change or modify an email. Maybe you BCC somebody, maybe you send it on, and again, it's very difficult to prove or disprove the authenticity of the email. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, let's say you go back and search the information, and you're not finding everything. Lots of times it could be sitting in something called a PST file, where basically a PST is lots of little archives all over your network, whether on individual PCs in your network or maybe outside remote users. Some of the challenges with searching PSTs are very similar to your email server, but also PSTs by their nature can get potentially corrupt. And then of course with all those remote users, it's very difficult. Can you imagine making a copy of all that data, all these different remote users, and trying to look through that? Very time consuming, very expensive. Third thing we're going to talk about is something called a backup tape, which most people are familiar with. The challenge though with a backup tape is you can imagine you have all these different tapes to try to restore and to pull those back can get very expensive, very time consuming. But a couple different data points here. Backup tapes by their nature unfortunately are unreliable. It could be older technology, maybe it's on-site, maybe it's off-site. Can you imagine pulling all those backup tapes and restoring them? It's very expensive. Third thing is try to do a keyword search across a backup tape. Very difficult, very expensive. And of course, the most important thing about backup tapes is they're really only a snapshot in time because backup tapes every night are only just looking at what's in your email server, so potentially information could be lost. Fourth thing we're going to talk about is something called a litigation hold, which a lot of people are very familiar with. Basically, a litigation hold says, don't delete anything related to a specific case for a specific time period. The challenge that most organizations go through, though, is legal folks send out a notification by email saying don't delete anything or keep everything. But how do you audit that? Here, as an example, you can't go back and prove or disprove whether somebody really kept something or didn't keep something. What if it's actually too much information? If somebody said to me, keep all your email for the next 5 or 10 years, that's an incredible amount of information. It's just too much data to be keeping. And it could be affecting a lot of people that maybe I've BCC'd or CC'd information on that's not even relevant to the case. So litigation holds need to get a little bit more central management of, you can't just send an email out and expect people to basically follow it. Fifth thing we're going to talk about is more on the policy side. If you can imagine nowadays, everybody has an email policy, but the question is, how much is your policy reality? In most organizations, it's not. And the reason is for a couple things. First of all, we trust our people, but we don't trust our people because you ask them, let's just keep it for 30 days, or let's keep it for 10 years. Most people say, wait a second, I need to keep this forever. I'm going to print it off. I might be sending stuff to Hotmail. I might be putting it on my USB drive. And usually it's a spectrum. That spectrum is actually very simple. It's all or nothing, or somewhere in between. And that's the challenge is, today you might say, let's keep everything forever because you never know when you're going to need it. Tomorrow you might find yourself on the other side of litigation saying, wait a second, let's get rid of everything because it might hurt us. Or somewhere in the middle of, let's say 30 days. But let's say if it is 30 days, again, people are going to find a way to keep it longer, whether it be, again, on Hotmail, printing, USB, or whatever it might be. So hopefully these 5 myths have been helpful for you in terms of finding information, whether it be your email server and PSTs, some of those challenges, trying to search backup tapes, going through litigation hold, and then of course more on the policy enforcement side. Thank you for your time.